Goddamn, my head hurts. Just what is His Majesty thinking? Once the meeting ended, most of the attendees had promptly taken their leave. The only ones currently still in the room were Dan, Jin, and Shutola. General Dan, are you all right? There's no need to worry about me. But this confirmation of war and transfer of the Magic Knight Order to Tristan, none of it seems to make sense. His Majesty has changed so much. He used to be a steady and reliable presence like you, Shutola-sama. Seeing Dan hang his head, Shutola sighed slowly, as if to relax her nerves. Dan. Jin. There's something I want to discuss with you too. Would you lend me your time? Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Beneath the base of the Dragon Knight Order was a deep, deep ravine. Or rather, it would be more accurate to describe it as the base having been built on a bridge that hung over the ravine. The dragons ridden by the Knights of the Order kept their nests within that gorge, where they deepened their bonds with their partners and trained each other up every day. Although Tristan generally touted human supremacy, things were different in this place. Here, humans and dragons were equals who placed their trust in each other. It had once been part of the mixed monster order. But with the installation of Asgrad as general, his drastically different principles led to a breaking off and the establishment of an entirely separate branch. The layout of the valley was such that the stronger the dragon, the farther down they could make their nest. As such, Asgrad's beloved partner was at the very bottom. It was dark down there, and visibility was questionable even when the sun was at its zenith and shining straight down. The entire floor of the valley was reserved for this one single beast. Hey there, you doing all right? Then again, you're just sleeping all the time, really. Oh, come on, still sulking? Asgrad's tone was warm and companionable, as if he were speaking to a close friend. The collar goes against my principles, you know that. It's honest and open communication that makes us Dragon Knights what we are. But we've gone over that before. Today, I've come to bring interesting news. Apparently, a man who's capable of killing Gigant Lord and Clive has appeared. The dragon's eyelids twitched. That caught your attention, didn't it? A real man can't help but get a thrill from hearing that. As the son of the mighty Darkness Dragon King, I knew you'd get it. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Thanks to King Lenhart adding his stamp of authorization to my guild card, the capital of Gon was added to the list of places I could visit using the teleportation gate. According to him, Gon's gate was also beneath their royal palace, just like Toraj's. The king generously promised to sort things out with the gatekeeper so that I was free to come and go whenever I wanted. The night we beat back the Tricenian army, another force from Gon arrived at the Forest of Crests and took up position as a new border protection garrison. I didn't get to meet him in person, but apparently this was an elite group personally led by one of Lenhart's sons. They arrived just in time to help mop up the stray monsters. I've ordered them to shift to guard duty as soon as they're done. At least, that's what Lenhart told me, but my guess was that he had already stationed the force nearby in case something went wrong during our defense of the village. For him, protecting the elves was a top priority, regardless of whether I passed my exam or not. That night, the entire village came out in full force to throw a gigantic feast. Even Ephil, who would normally insist on sticking to her duties as a maid, enjoyed it a lot. I noticed her eating a lot more than she usually did. Perhaps as a half-elf, the cuisine here particularly matched her palate. Most of the dishes were made from ingredients that could be found in the forest, such as mushrooms and fruits, and had rather simple seasonings. There was also a boar-like monster on offer. Although I had a feeling that was something that had been specially prepared out of consideration for my party and the newly arrived Ghanaian soldiers who were stationed there. Having grown used to Ephil's exceptional cooking, I did find the fare slightly unsatisfying, but the elves kept offering me more, causing me to overeat quite a bit regardless. However, I'd like to state for the record that I didn't come close to consuming even a fifth of what Melfina ate. I swear she was packing away more food than the volume of her entire body. Every once in a while, Nellis's daughter came to refill my cup with fruit wine. Each time, I would brace myself, fearing it would be King Lenhart instead. It really was troublesome that even Annalise I couldn't tell the difference. Considering how masterfully the Beast King copied the girl's very aura, even Nellis couldn't be blamed for mistaking the two of them. As for my companions, they were pretty much their usual partying selves. Having gotten completely sloshed, Sarah came to mess with me and just wouldn't let go. Gerard stood on top of a platform that I could swear hadn't been there earlier that day and was sharing the highlights of the fight. Kelvin. Aren't I deserving, of some compliments too? All right. Good job, Sarah. Good girl. Can you please let me go already? There why go trying to change the subject, again. And so I said, if you wish to pass, you'll have to defeat me first. A roar of cheers went up. Dude, but you didn't do any fighting. I say, where are you looking off to? I had started off drinking slowly by myself but somehow ended up being caught in the chaos. Shit, I think I feel my bones creaking. I've found you, Kel Nee. Things have gotten really crazy where Mel Nee's at. I think I'm more worried about how crazy things are getting with my arm right now. What? Isn't that a side benefit, though? That's how it's always depicted in manga. I can't even feel my hand anymore. Do you understand how tiresome it is using healing magic to continuously restore my own arm before it snaps? Anyway, never mind that. Mel Nee is having an eating contest with the Ghanaian soldiers over there, and she's already beaten 6 of them. Apparently, some of the elves had to go out to hunt more game because the ingredients ran out. She still had room for more? She'd already eaten enough portions for several people when she was at my table earlier. Raiwan, it's my time now. Go away, shoo. Sarah Nee, how about I get you to bed? We're leaving tomorrow morning, remember? I don't, WAANT too. In spite of her petite frame, Ryan managed to forcibly peel Sarah off me and give her a piggyback ride. Sarah put up some token resistance, but in her drunken state, she was no match for the sober hero. And the position of riding piggyback seemed to have done the trick in triggering her sleepiness, as my demon companion promptly fell silent and started breathing peacefully. Looks like you've had a pretty tough time of it, Kel Nee. Thanks, you saved me. My arm was literally about to bend in a direction it's definitely not supposed to. That just goes to show how much Sarah Nee thinks of you. As a man, you've got to answer her feelings properly. I'm trying, I really am. Would it help if I bumped Iron Wall up a rank or two? Since it's already quite late, I think I'll bring Sarah Nee to bed and then go to sleep myself. Sounds good. Good night, Ryan. I know I've said it several times already, but you really did an amazing job today. Nah, what was amazing was your commanding. I only did what anyone would have done in my position. But, I mean, if I could have a reward. Is there something you want? Never mind, it's a secret. Good night. After seeing them off, I was left on my own. Well then, it's about time. We'll be striking off for Parth in the morning. Ryan and Sarah have already gone to bed, so I should probably do the same. Gerard I can just leave alone, as he'll wake up on time anyway. But Melfina's extremely bad with mornings. Looks like she's still in the middle of her eating contest too, so I might have to force her to go to bed. Which leaves only, Eiffel. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. A gentle breeze blew across the top of the wall, carrying away the faint sounds of merriment that had traveled all the way from the village square. Eiffel stood alone, looking up at the eastern sky, her blonde hair flowing in the wind. What are you doing here? Oh, master. When I called out, she noticed my presence immediately and turned towards me with a smile. Her face looks a bit red. I did see her drinking a little tonight, even though she normally doesn't partake. Could that be why? Guess this wall's gotta go tomorrow too. I did promise to revert everything to the way it was once the battle was over. Master, Nellas-sama told me that he doesn't mind the wall staying. The men of the village have taken quite a liking to it. Really? Well, then it stays, I suppose. I'm sure they'll be delighted. But at the very least, let's revert the water in the moat back to normal, Eiffel said, giggling a little. You look kind of flushed. Did you drink a bit too much? That's not it, master. I only drank a single cup tonight. Ah, then you're tired from fielding all the words of gratitude from the villagers? You should have continued lying down a bit longer and gotten more rest. Thank you for your concern, master. The conversation came to an end there, and silence filled the air. Eiphile's face remained red, but her expression was that of marvel. I can still hardly believe everything that's happened here. I'm really thankful that we came. Nellas-sama and everyone else have treated me so warmly even though only half of my blood is elven. Most of all, I got to learn something about my mother. Eiphile's mother, Rumel, was an elf who supposedly bore an uncanny resemblance to her daughter. Unfortunately, she had long since died, so there was no way to meet her in person. Even so, having found a clue about her seemed to mean a lot to Eiffel, who had spent her entire life as an orphan. I still know nothing about my father or how I came to be. But something that made me happy enough not to dwell on that happened, so. During the latter half of her sentence, Eiphile's voice grew softer and softer until it was almost unintelligible. Inversely, her face seemed to grow redder and redder. Are you sure you're all right, Eiffel? It's pretty late, don't you want to go to bed? Why yes, let's go to bed together. I turned to descend the stairs, but she suddenly called me back. Master, I will support you with all my might, even more than I've done so far. So, may I continue serving you for the rest of my life? Eiffel waited for my answer with a hand touching the collar on her neck and her eyes averted anxiously. What she was wearing was a slave collar, an item commonly used to make a slave obey their master's bidding. As there was absolutely no need for it in our case, I'd offered to remove it numerous times, but she always firmly refused me, saying, "You gave me this yourself, master, and it is my pride and joy. Please do not take it away from me." I must have done a bad job if she's making such a worried face. Come on, I'll only ever have one answer to that question. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. On top of his platform, Gerard was continuing to enthusiastically recount the day's events. Then my king, Kelvin, looked straight at the enemy general and declared, "Don't you dare lay a hand on my woman." The elves whistled and stomped their feet as they reached the height of their excitement listening to the knight's gripping tale. On the other side of the square, Melfina, surrounded on all sides by the unconscious forms of the collapsed Ghanaian soldiers, brought her hands together, saying, "Phew, what a delicacy that was. Let us always be grateful for the food we eat." All in all, the scene was absolute chaos. Well then, I think I'll be heading off to bed soon. What about you, Gier? Hold on. What's the matter, princess? Gerard replied, emanating the air of someone who had just managed a huge accomplishment. Try listening to the sounds being picked up by the Clotho clone accompanying Eiffel on top of the wall. Oh my. My king has blocked off the network, but he's clearly forgotten about Clotho's presence. Those are truly cringy things he's saying. Even I'm getting embarrassed listening in. I can't just let this go, now can I? Gerard once again stepped up to the stage. Apologies for the wait, all. This is the best part yet, so listen up. This is the final part of the performance by yours truly, so here goes. In response, the elves as well as the soldiers, who had just begun to return to life, roared with elation and pumped their fists in the air. Oh, you're going to tell them? Sorry, honey. Unbeknownst to him at the time, this night would go down in Kelvin's memory as a dark, dark episode indeed. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow. Early the next day, we bid farewell to the village of elves and set off for Parth. Nellas and the villagers all invited us to stay a while longer, but Ellie and Ruka were waiting for us back home. The longer we remained gone, the more they would worry. The elves gathered every last coin they had and tried to give it all to us, but we turned them down. We couldn't very well bankrupt them. We asked them instead to gather the kind of fresh produce that could only be found in their forest. Ephil likes this fruit. They sure knew what to bring back. At the village gate, Nellas and Lenhart, who was again borrowing the appearance of the elder's daughter, saw us off. Rest assured, Gon will take responsibility for protecting the village. Next time, use the teleportation gate and come visit our capital. We'll welcome you. I hope you'll finally show us your real appearance then. Ha. 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 Very well, I promise you. Though I imagine you'll be busy for quite a while, having reached rank S. What do you mean? The birth of a new rank S adventurer calls for a city-wide celebration. After all, it is something that only occurs once every few years or so across the entire continent. You know, I prefer not being in the spotlight so much. Come now, it's not such a bad thing. Being famous has its perks too. Plus, the celebrations are one of the citizens' rare sources of entertainment. It's tradition to pull out all the stops on the day of the promotion ceremony itself. The last time was, that's right, Sylvia, a year ago. She shot right up through the ranks just as you did. When I think about it that way, the recent rookies all seem so talented. As it happens, her promotion was held in Gon, and we threw her the biggest celebration ever. Of course, she herself was too embarrassed to attend any of it. Ha ha ha. Doesn't that mean she basically ran away? And wait, they went ahead with the celebration even though the guest of honor never showed? Wow. Wow. So, you really are leaving us, Kelvin Dono, Ephil-san, said Nellas dolefully. Thank you for everything yesterday, Nellas-sama, returned Ephil with a refined bow. It was nothing compared to what you've done for us. We are the ones who should be saying thanks. Nellas replied in a fluster as he and the elves behind him all lowered their heads deeply. Wow, it feels so strange being bowed to by so many people. Please think of this village as your true home and come visit whenever you want. Every one of us will be waiting. Oh dear, I almost forgot. The elder took out a small jeweled box and passed it to Ephil. Ephil-san, this is yours. What is this? It is a memento of your mother, Rumel. Please take it with you. I'm sure she would have wanted you to have it. My mother's memento. Ephil accepted the box, then silently lifted the lid to peer inside. A hair clip? Rumel was wearing this when we found her. In fact, it was the only undamaged item on her. The emerald ornaments look lovely, don't they? Good for you, Ephil, said Sarah, looking closely at the clip from the side. I activated Analyze Eye from my position a bit farther away. Not only was this magical jewel hair clip beautifully ornamented, it had also been crafted in such a way that the properties of the magical jewels embedded in it retained their functional properties. In fact, I would venture a guess that the efficacy of the magical jewels was even higher than it had been when they were in their raw, unprocessed form. There was no doubt this was the handiwork of a master artisan. The hair clip was in the shape of a small flower, with tiny emeralds embedded in each petal. What it lacked in flashiness, it more than made up for with elegance and beauty. Ephil, how about trying it on? I'm sure it'll suit you, I suggested. May I really? She asked hesitantly. It's already yours, Nellis replied. Feel free to do as you wish with it. In that case, Master, can you do it for me? Gotcha. I circled around behind and let her hair down, then carefully redid it using the magical clip. Every once in a while at home, when I woke up early enough, I would brush her hair. Thanks to that experience, I somehow managed to do her hair up quite nicely. How is it? She asked, turning only her head around. Nellis nodded, touched. As I expected, it suits you as well as it suited your mother. It really pops against your blonde hair. It's perfect, added Sarah. You look wonderful, confirmed Melfina. Just as everyone was saying, the hair clip looked so good on Eiffel, it was as if it had been specially made for her. The older elves who'd personally known Rumel brushed tears from the corners of their eyes. Looking happy, Eiffel shot me furtive little glances. I looked straight at her and said clearly, Eiffel, you look beautiful. Thank you very much. That makes me so happy. As we stared into each other's eyes, the atmosphere surrounding us gradually started to turn sweet. Clap, clap. All right, all right. Quel ni, Eiffel nay, leave that for after we get back, okay? Chided Ryan, dispelling that atmosphere around us with 2 loud claps. Is it just me or is my little sister getting really on top of things lately? Her growth makes me happy, but couldn't she have waited just a bit longer? Oh, okay, now I notice all the stairs from the elves behind us and the Ghanaian soldiers on top of the wall. Perhaps beating a hasty retreat is the best thing to do here. Ahem. Well then, Beast King, Nellis-san, we'll be taking our leave. I look forward to your future exploits. Thank you once again for everything. I wish you Godspeed. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Just as we had done for our journey to the village, we ran the whole way back. If we hurry, we can make it home within the day. My king, I was thinking, maybe it's time I come out. Gerard, you are sentenced to a week of house arrest inside my magic pool. I will never forget what you did last night. Do you even know how much of a commotion Eiffel and I found ourselves in after coming down from the wall? Come to think of it, the reason for all those stares just now was mainly because of you. Even my hair stands on end when I remember what I myself said to Eiffel last night, and you exposed it to the whole village. Know the weight of your crime. We are so done. I don't think the staring just now had anything to do with me. Gramps, I kind of understand how you feel, but you really shouldn't have done that. Ryan, child, if you take their side, then I really have nothing to say in return. However, I'm also partially responsible as I was present and did nothing to stop him. As punishment for myself, I'll refrain from having seconds for a week. Melfina's bombshell statement evoked an alarmed, "What?" from everyone through the network. Don't be hasty, Melfina. Kelvin's right. Mel, your body won't last the week. Princess. You really don't have to keep someone like me company. I can't subject you to such a cruel and unusual punishment, Melne. That would be very troubling, Melfina-sama. The amount of ingredients I procured were calculated based on your normal rate of consumption. If you don't eat it, I'll have to, should I give it to Clo-chan? Wait, or maybe I could bring some to share with Claire-san. Everyone tried their best to convince Melfina to drop her mad scheme. Given how familiar we'd become with seeing her enthusiastically wolfing down her food, the sight of her suppressing her appetite would undoubtedly fill us with a deep concern that she was unwell. To think that you all appreciate me so much. All right, I understand. I'll do my best to eat as much as I can, then. And so, it was with laughter and friendly banter that we made our way back to Parth. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow. The sun had almost set by the time we returned. As always, 2 golems holding halberds were standing guard before the front gate. I was relieved to see that nothing had happened in our absence. When we passed through the gate and reached the fountain, we found Ruka weeding the garden. Before we could say anything, she noticed our approach and rushed over with her small strides. "Master. Welcome back. Hey there, Ruka. Have you been a good girl and listened to what Ellie said?" We worked hard taking care of the place. Welcome back to you too, Ifil-sama. We're glad to be back, my headmaid replied. All right, show me what you two have done. I'll go check on it now. So soon? Shouldn't you rest up first? Ruka was pulling a face, probably because of how strict Ifil's usual instruction was. Although she had a gentle personality and was normally kind to everyone, Ifil would not compromise an inch when it came to her professional duties. She applied this high standard to Ruka and Ellie as well, consequently putting them through some pretty tough training each day. Even so, the two of them trusted her greatly, proving that she was a good leader who knew how to properly share her vision and connect with subordinates on a personal level. Well, that and the staff meals she made every once in a while probably played a part too. Once, I'd just happened to walk past an open door where Ruka was eating while tears streamed down her face. Ifil sure is a tactician. Winning over master and subordinates alike through our stomachs, is what I'd normally say, but since it's her we're talking about, she probably just wanted to reward Ruka for her hard work. Thanks to this educational approach of Ifil's, even I, as an amateur, could tell that Ellie and Ruka's skills were improving by leaps and bounds every day. They had also amassed plenty of levels and skill points, so I was genuinely looking forward to seeing how they developed in the future. Oh, right, we brought back souvenirs. Ta-da, said Ryan, taking out one of the fruits that we'd received from the village of elves and giving it to the little girl. Wow. I've never seen this kind of fruit before. Can I eat it, Ryan-sama? Sure you can. It's like a pear, you'll love it. We have plenty, so go ask Ifil to cut you another one sometime, alright? Oh, I've already learned how to cut fruit. Want me to show you the results of my trainee? What's all the commotion, Ruka? Oh, master. Having been drawn by our voices, Ellie appeared at the door. Just like Ruka, she noticed us immediately. Was she in the middle of cleaning the lobby? Welcome home. I sincerely apologize for not noticing sooner. Don't worry about it. We literally just got back. Did anything happen in our absence? Ifil asked. No, nothing. Oh, but we did receive a letter from the Adventurers Guild addressed to Master. A letter to me from the guild? I imagine it must be related to the promotion. Would you bring it to me in the living room later? Yes, Master. Considering the hour, I'll just read the thing and show up at the guild tomorrow. By the way, where's Grandpa Gerard? Asked Ruka. Gerard is on a week-long training journey. Ah, I wanted to show him my awesome peeling skills too, she said with a pout, moving one of her hands as if it were a knife and applying it to the fruit she was holding. Don't worry, I'll take responsibility and eat Gerard's share too, Melfina offered. Ah, then I'd like some as well. That fruit is pretty delicious, Sarah chimed in. I nodded in agreement. Sounds like a good idea. Let's all have some after dinner. With that settled, it's time to head inside and rest up a bit. My king. My king. I beg of you, please let me have some too. This is the plea of a lifetime. It wasn't exactly a handmade dish, but was still fruit cut by Ruka's hands, and Gerard doted on her so much. However, his cry from the soul fell on deaf ears. I had slightly dialed down the volume of his voice for the duration of his house arrest, so it wasn't all that distracting. I didn't realize beforehand how truly cruel this punishment would be. At this rate, Gerard's mind might break down. I might have to shorten the duration of his sentence a bit. Hollow diamond, 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 hollow. The larger room on the first floor was our living room. And it was decked out with all the furniture that Eiffel had carefully selected with the aim of making it a space where a significant number of people could relax. Before the Western-style hearth was a rug made from the hide of a white sable that we had caught ourselves. The rather sizable sofa was Sarah and Ryan's favorite lounging spot, and I would always find them lazing about on it at this time of day. "Ah, home really is the best," sighed Sarah blissfully. "I know, right? It feels even better after such a long time away," Ryan agreed. "Look at you two already monopolizing the couch as soon as we're back." When I entered the room, the girls had already settled themselves in. The couch was indeed quite large, but there wasn't enough space for a third person to sit when the two of them spread themselves out like that. Before I knew it, Alex emerged from Ryan's shadow and curled up before the fireplace as well. While I was considering purchasing another sofa, Eiffel spoke up from behind me, holding a tray bearing cups of tea in her hand. The unique aroma told me that it was likely a blend from the village of elves. "Excuse me, I'm coming in." "Ah, master, what time do you want dinner?" Everyone's still winding down right now, so how about in an hour?" "Oh, wait, but you're tired too, Eiffel." Although we had taken a few breaks, we'd run at a pretty brisk pace on our way back to Parth. I felt bad asking her to cook so soon after returning. I want to say that I'm completely fine, but Ellie and Ruka convinced me otherwise. Tonight, the two of them will be preparing the food. Oh, that's a first. I know they've been learning from you and helping out with the cooking so far, but tonight is the first time they'll be handling everything by themselves, isn't it? Eiffel had a certain pride with regard to the kitchen, which would sometimes spur her to push herself to do the cooking even when she was tired. I'd been thinking about forcing her to take a rest, but thankfully, I didn't have to go that far. "That just goes to show how worried they are about you," said Melfina, walking in with a large platter piled with cookies. "Mel-sama, please allow me to carry the snacks." "Nah, this is for me to handle." "Have you already forgotten what Ellie told you? You do have a tendency to take everything on yourself." "But." "No, buts. Place more trust in those around you. Especially your subordinates. They really do want to help take some of the burden off your shoulders." "What's happened? Did a problem crop up where I wasn't aware?" "Nothing happened, really, it's just that when I tried to start preparing the ingredients, the two of them stopped me and told me to rest. And that was when I jauntily entered the scene and threw my support behind them," added Melfina as she shoved a cookie into Eiphile's mouth. Eiffel munched on it, looking embarrassed. "I know you told Kelvin you'd try harder, but you mustn't overwork yourself. If you end up collapsing as a result, you'd just be making him sad. That's not what you want, is it?" "You're right. I suppose I may have been causing everyone undue worry. Master, I guarantee Ellie and Ruka's growth. Would you please give their cooking a try?" "Well, let me see," I said, approaching her and evoking a "fwat" from her by pinching both her cheeks. "Do you even have to ask? These are your apprentices we're talking about here. I'd be more than happy to try their food." "That's right, Eiffel, you should be more laid back." Yep, just like us. Sarah and Ryan, you two are too laid back. Going all out as a maid is fine and all, but do make sure to take some time for yourself every once in a while, okay? With that in mind, you two, share some of your laid-backness with Eiffel, ordered the goddess. "You got it." Aye, sir." I snatched the tray from Eiphile's hands. What? Come on, let's laze around together over there. Eiffel, nay, rest is to be celebrated and cherished. Come. Slowly but surely, my maid was dragged over to the devilish sofa. It would be troubling if she became too much like them, but it was true that I wanted her to occasionally have some downtime. Mel, thank you for caring for Ephil. It seems she's been pushing herself quite a bit after acquiring staff, so it helps to have someone looking out for her. Even if I didn't, Ellie and Ruka would. Most importantly, now I get to eat food made by the two of them. Mel, she sure knows her priorities. Or is she just hiding her embarrassment? My king, Ruka's handmade cooking, moaned Gerard with a voice that sounded like he was crying tears of blood. All right. I'll lift your house arrest before dinner. My king. I thought I felt Gerard's loyalty climb another notch. Hollow diamond. Dinner went by as a boisterous affair, just as it always did. But we had a fairly important event lined up for 4 days later. The contents of the letter I had quickly scanned could be summed up in 3 points. I had passed my promotion exam. The official promotion ceremony would be held at the Adventurers Guild in Parth in 4 days. After the ceremony, there would be a practice match between the new Rank S adventurer, me, and an incumbent Rank S adventurer. I didn't particularly mind, but the third point was quite sudden. So, I'm the entertainment at my own celebration?